Oh, can't. Where are you? Oh, snap. Where'd
Can
you
you hear
go?
me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. It just like disconnected me. Maybe it didn't want me to just share two people at one time. So
Uh-huh.
go open up your calculator.
Okay.
Right. Now tell me,
Mm.
so you got the asking price in there, right? You're going in and out as well.
This price. So she told me 240 is the lowest he would go. So
Okay.
I guess knowing that, I was just like, let me just plug that in, because she said that she was very confident that he would. He said that that's the lowest he would go.
Okay. Hey Jess, turn off your video for a second. Let's just turn on the screen just in case that's lagging a little bit because you keep going in and out a little bit on my side. Let's do that.
Camera.
Okay. Okay. Let me share my screen because for some reason it went away on your side.
That's okay. Oh, unshare. Stop sharing. Okay.
Okay, Jess, you're still able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So let's talk this deal through. This is on 707 Berkeley Plaza, right?
Correct.
And you already got the FMRs, correct? Did you get that for your county?
No, I did not do that.
Oh, why not?
Uh,
You know how to do that.
I'm
I'm
so focused on this calculator. Like,
just messing. Well, that's one of the things you had to plug in the calculator. All right, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. So let's talk about it, right? So this
yeah.
property, let's do this part together. County, Dallas County. So what we can do is go to smaller FMRs and get the FMR for this area. This is in Texas, right? And then we'll go to Dallas County. Okay. Your property is in 75061. So that's 75061. And for those of you that are tuning in, we're just analyzing a deal together today with Jess, one of our community members. So we're just going to do this together. Figure it's more fun than me just doing it on my own.
Thank you, Ken.
So 75061. Here's your FMR by bedroom count. And this property was a 3-bed, 2.5 bath. So you should note down that your FMR for 75061, the FMR is 1990. Okay, Jess?
Gotcha.
Okay. Next up is we want to look up the market rent. So, when we do this, we want to get the average market rents by bedroom count by zip code in this area. And you see that right here for 25 units within a 0.7 mile radius, your average rent is 2204. Now, when you compare the FMR, is usually what they call the rent ceiling. If you're assuming you're using this for Section 8 purposes, right? You will want to use 1990. Why? Because 1990 is the lower of the two when you really compare it to the market rent. And that's a ceiling rent that HUD will subsidize up to. The only time you ever see differences like that is when you are in areas like very expensive areas such as Boston, New York, maybe even Austin or something like that. Does that make sense? What do you have for your rent assumptions right now, Jess, on your spreadsheet?
2000.
2000. Okay, so that's pretty close. But 2000 is exactly 1990, so there's $10 difference. It's whatever. $10 is not going to make or break a deal. All right. Now, what did you have for your rehab estimates on this property?
That I didn't really know what to put, honestly, because I was wondering, um, rehab is kind of perspective, right? It's like you want rehab or remodel, like those repaired in order for somebody to move in, because maybe some things don't need to be repaired. So I was kind of questioning that.
Well, if you were living in the home, what would you like to see change about this home?
Um,
Do you like carpet? Do you not care for it? Do you love it? Sorry, Jess, you went in and out.
oh, really? No, I guess I would prefer carpet.
You would not. You would?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
Just because I have a baby, so I wouldn't think that that would be
Okay.
like.
Well, great. That's just your preference, right? So, I mean, I don't like carpet either. So, I would just replace all the carpeting. So, you assume, let's just assume very roughly, right? The whole point of this is just see whether or not it's close to being a deal. You want to put in this bedroom is carpet, this bedroom is carpet, and there's 3 bedrooms with carpet. So, I just go ahead and assume, hey, each room is 12 by 10. That's 120 square feet. That's 3 bedrooms. I would replace the flooring on 3 bedrooms. That's roughly around 360 square feet in LVP. And I usually use a rough estimate of $8 a square foot for materials and labor for these projects. So I would do simple as on your calculator, right? If you have access to the Excel calculator, which you already have, you could just do 8 times 360 square feet. That's roughly around a $3,000 floor job. And then you assume that you got to paint the entire place at $3 a square foot times 1631. So 4,800 plus another 3,000, you're roughly around, just call it $8,000 of rehab, right? That's how I'm estimating the rehab for this property. Unless you know of any other issues from your inspection report, which I believe you got earlier. And Jess, you're on mute, by the way, you were talking.
Oh, I'm just trying to take some notes. You said $3 a square foot. I think I googled that one time, like what a paint job in our area was, and it was like 290 to like $3 or something, like a little under $2 up to 390 or something like that. So I think.
Okay, so $2 to $4 square foot. I mean, once you get your own resources and your own team in place, right, in Irving, Texas, then you will probably know how much you're estimating to be. That $3 a square foot is what I use for my past rehabs, and that has worked well for me as like a general rule of thumb. But not to say like, hey, if you pick someone that will get your paint job done on the fly, like the next day, maybe you pay them extra 50 cents a square foot. Who knows, right? But
Right.
you're just gauging it.
Right. But I was actually thinking you were right. I was like, yeah, that sounds right. Because that's what I had to Google it.
I can't find a water heater in here. Where is it? Water heater, year 2019. Okay, so you're fine. That water heater is pretty new. I wouldn't replace a water heater. Any issues with HVAC? Mm, HVAC looks like it's working. Yeah, no issues. The temperature reading listed above the HVAC rating. Yeah, HVAC is 2011, so you probably don't need to replace that yet. So, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward cosmetic rehab. I didn't see any big HVAC issues. HVAC got the water heater is new, it's 2019. The condenser was 2011. So usually they last at least 20, 25 years. So you're not replacing anything there yet either. Were there any other issues that you found that you thought we should talk about?
No, not that I can recall that I thought, oh, let me ask Kent about that.
Yeah, and I think every supply lines for the upstairs hall shower appears to be leaking into the ceiling. So I would probably plug in another like $2,000 for like either moisture damage. Usually I set aside like $1,500 for like a roof repair. Usually there's always something that's like a small leak in the roof. Here you see that there's a small supply leak inside. Maybe that's just like a quick pipe fix for a couple $100. But if you
Yeah,
thought about it, right?
I think that's
But
what the realtor said. She was saying it wasn't. They didn't think it was like a big deal.
yeah, so you're probably a couple $100 or anything like that. So our rehab was 8 grand. If you added another 20% contingency, that brings you to 10 grand. That's how I would go about your renovation process. So
And that's
you just plugged out. Let's
said
see.
that the seller said that they would give a $10,000 concession to
Mm-hmm.
the buyer. Um, so I did put $10,000 in like for remodeling or repairs on my calculations on the calculator, but not because I truly understood that, but because she said that they would give concessions. So that's what I put.
Okay. Well, that's fine. I mean, you've got $8,000 for your rehab, so 10,000, but you might get back 10,000. What?
Well, because I knew that the after repair values for the area was like 250, and they were giving 10,000 in concession to the buyer. So I kind of just like assumed by the all the little things that maybe possibly that they were doing that so somebody can come in and update some things. So then I put that as the
Oh, you just went out again. So, Jess, is this a sub two deal?
yeah, it would be.
Okay.
I think I included the mortgage statement too. I don't think I've just read enough of them to like truly know what I'm doing because it looked to me like he missed a payment and I couldn't. Then it kind of did say that he owed like 3,000, and I'm like, that's equivalent to like two payments.
Okay, so that includes arrears. Okay.
He's behind on his HOAs.
16805,
Uh,
16805. Did you plug in the underlying loan in your area?
yeah, I
Okay.
can share my calculator with you. I don't know if it was like really doing.
Yeah, we're just going in and out. Why don't you go ahead and try sharing now?
Okay, let's see. I didn't know. I didn't see where to put like the HOA part. I guess I didn't consider that would be arrears. I guess arrears is considered anything that they have to pay.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Okay. I didn't. I thought maybe that just meant missed payment. So that's. Let's see here. Okay. So Reno, and she said the lowest they would go is 240, and she said if they did 250, they would give 10,000 in concessions. So I was like, oh, that's probably for remodeling. So I put that here.
Hold on. Jess, whenever you're trying to share your screen, I'm assuming it's probably like a laptop issue.
Mm.
It just goes in and out. Could you send me your spreadsheet and I can just take it from there and I can share it?
Okay, I sent it to you.
All right. Just give it a second while it loads.
Can you hear me fine though?
I can hear you. Just keep dropping whenever whenever you try to share the screen, it just dropped.
Drops too. I don't know if it's my. I don't know what it is.
It's okay. I had an older laptop when I was going live in Las Vegas, and every single time I tried to share the screen, everything crashed because it just didn't have enough RAM to share the screen while going live.
Interesting. I meant to look into that. Make sure.
You sent it to me on Facebook?
Yes.
Oh, you did? Okay. Sorry, I was looking on my email. You just got to grant me access really quick on your side.
There you go.
Okay. So you plugged in 240, got your $10,000 renovation. Let me zoom in. I'm going to change this to 1990 just to be a little bit more.
Accurate.
Request edit access. Can you give me edit access, please?
Uh, um, give me a second. Where would I?
You can check your inbox again. Probably just requested it.
Okay. Did. Oh. Okay. Did that work?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So 1990. There we go. So you have 240, and $24,000 was the cash to seller.
240 was the price that the agent told me that the seller would be willing to go.
And how much money is the seller want for cash to him or her? Because you have $24,000 right here for your.
Oh, I don't think I did. I went that far on the calculator to delete any of that.
Okay. All right. So then the next thing you need to do is put in and plug in the loan for this deal. So 160,000.
I thought I did that on the bottom, or maybe I didn't put it in the right spot.
No, it's not here. So 168.05.66. And you got the interest rate at 4.75%.
Oh, I think I was using the wrong section because I didn't use that subto section at all. I was
Where
using
did you?
it's that one I think. It scroll down, like, isn't it? Because I remember plugging in that 160 somewhere on this one. Yeah, is this one? I'm sorry.
Well, let me just keep going then,
Okay,
because
I'm sorry.
otherwise
Yeah.
it's going to take a little while. I got
Okay.
a hard stop in 4 minutes. So 1697.96 minus the substitute principal minus substitute interest, and that's going to be your taxes and insurance. And I usually just add extra $35 for insurance policies. And there is a secondary loan in here. See the new loan 1, new loan 2. You're going to zero that out because I don't believe we're having the seller finance the equity portion of it. You got 10% for your maintenance. HOA. What's the HOA cost?
Um. Oh, the monthly.
Yes.
I didn't.
241. What I see on HOA.
Oh.
241. Lower this 10% for property management. 5% for vacancy. And I haven't even plugged in the numbers for what your cash sellers. Do you know what the cash seller is?
The
I kept
arrears.
track.
Oh, she just said he needed the arrears paid. So
And what was the arrears?
they, let me look at the document. Oh, I plugged it in. Oh no, that's right. I couldn't find where to plug it in. All right, let me look at the document real quick. It was like, give me 1 second. She sent it to me. Oh wait, I sent it to you. Let me look. Easier.
You didn't send it to me until like just a couple minutes before, so I haven't had time to look at everything.
I'm sorry. Let me see. HOA. Let me open it. Okay. $4,381.73.
So if the seller's asking for $240,000, you're taking over a balance of 160. The seller's not getting any cash. What's happening with the equity portion? That's the question.
Um, we haven't discussed that part.
So here's a question that you got to figure out.
Okay.
The seller is asking for 240,000. You're taking over a loan of $160,000.
Mm-hmm.
Roughly speaking, there's $80,000 of equity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is the seller expecting you to pay him $80,000, right? Because that's the delta or the difference between 240,000 and $160,000.
Right.
Make sense?
For sure.
So is that cash seller or is that seller finance? Because if there's no cash to the seller, then really your purchase price is not $240,000. Your real purchase price is your arrears plus your principal, and that makes it $165,000.
Oh, I see. That makes more sense. Well, so the reason we hadn't spoken about that yet is because all we did was ask if he was open to this strategy or this solution, and he said yes. And so it was my job to like go in and like try to figure out if it's even a deal. So I didn't know like how to exactly do that. And so I just went to the calculator to start plugging in what I knew how to do to see to see how far I could get.
Okay. So in that scenario, if you don't have to pay them any more amount of money for a long-term rental, this is not a deal for me personally because after you put in all your expenses, right? So if you think about it, if your rent for a 3 bedrooms 1990 and your principal, your interest, your taxes, insurance already equals to $1,800, there's really no money left over, especially after a 241 HOA fee on a monthly basis, for you to make any money on it.
Right.
The only way you can make any money on it is if you have a wrap buyer that's willing to give you the down payment so you can recoup most of your initial expenses and then make that spread between this 4.75% interest rate and whatever loan or whatever, however you wrap it to a homestead buyer at like a 7 or 8%. That's the only way you can make money on that spread.
Got it. Thank you, Kent.
Yeah. And then you can go ahead and try to figure out like, hey, can I rent it out on a midterm rental? And you probably just have to just search on Irving, Texas and Furnish Finder. Room, 3 bedrooms. And then you just got to look for places that are close to your property and see whether or not you can actually make a return on 2,800. I believe your house is like right around this area.
Yeah.
3,500 for a 3 bed, 4 bed, 2,800. That if that house is 2,800 and it's not rented out yet, then you can probably guess you're probably around a 2,800.
But for these
2,900.
for these instances where it could be a midterm rental, the investors who would underwrite this deal, they would want to see this house underwrite as a long-term rental or cash flow as a long-term rental or at least break even as one, right?
No, it doesn't have to be. It just depends on what type of investors you are. Some people, if their only exit strategy is midterm rentals, they might not even care about making it a cash flowing deal as a long term rental. Some people don't care, right? Like I got properties in Scottsdale that are bachelorette Airbnbs, and I would have never underwritten it or bought the property if I want to make sure that it was going to cash flow as a long term rental. Again, this is not investment advice, right? But
Right.
everybody's going to have their own preferences.
So I just need to ask, around to see if there are people who would be willing to buy a property that would go as a midterm, but not as a long term rental.
Yes, you would have to find your buyers, correct? Like that.
Okay. I guess I had this weird assumption that, you know, worst case scenario, everybody wanted at least rent it out long term to,
Yeah, a lot of people would prefer that. That is true. There's a good amount of people that prefers that.
right. But the other buyers, they're out there.
Yeah, but here's the problem, right? Even if you bought this property with $240,000, there needs to be a seller equity portion of it. So if you minus that, minus the arrears, minus the principal, this gives you the balance of the seller's equity. Even if you that is a 0% interest on the seller's equity portion, you'll be losing. There's another $200 a monthly payments to your seller on a monthly basis, and you're still losing $537 a month on this property.
Oh, wow. I have so much.
All right, Jess. Hopefully this was helpful. I know you're going in and out, but this is not a deal because at 1990, it's a negative cash flowing property, at least for a long term rental from that perspective. What you need to figure out is whether or not you have a buyer, and you need to figure out what your buyers are willing to pay for the home for it to justify you even doing a wrap purchase. Because essentially, you need the monthly payment from your wrap buyer to be higher than what your PI and TI is currently, of roughly around $1,800 in order for you to even make a spread on a monthly basis, assuming you can even get back all your capital that you invested from a down payment from a wrap buyer to even begin with. So don't go for midterm rentals unless you're also willing to put in furnishing costs into your ROI, and also that you are putting in utility expenses. Because right now, as a long term rental, you will have expenses for maintenance, vacancy, and property management. But once you get into a midterm rental, yeah, could you make 2,800 instead of 2,000? Sure, but then are you going to proportionally make that much more money? No, you still have to pay for maintenance. You have to pay for cleanings. You have to pay for utilities. So all those expenses start adding up, and then you start eroding your margin, and you just don't have that spread to kind of make up for it. So, all right. So this was day 109. Jess, thank you for coming onto the stream and analyzing a deal together with me. I know you've been going in and out, but hopefully this was helpful for you.
Thank you, Kent. I appreciate your time.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.